hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to?
Welcome again to Street Talk. My name is Ahmad Shakaraki, and on Street Talk we deal with political, social, and economics here in Michigan, the U.S., and abroad. Now, joining me tonight,
Dennis Burnside.
Charles Thomas.
We got a lot to talk about tonight, but you were saying something, and you were saying something about what we should be doing and what we're not doing. We're talking about the political people. We're supposed to get 9, I think, after this, what it is, the debate. And so what do you think?
The candidate's going to quit or back out? Okay.
Yeah, it's there's criteria for being invited to each one of these. And as you move forward, there's and it depends on who's hosting. If there's a combination of financial support, you have to have so much in donations. You have to have so many. You have to poll at a certain level, and you have to prove that you're viable for the next debate. So after this one, which they really haven't cut anyone from the first debate, we had 20. We're probably going to see 10, 11 people either be forced out or voluntarily drop out because they just don't have the funding to keep going. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are looking for that electrifying moment like Kamala Harris had at the last debate, which vaulted her up from the middle of the also-rans to the top. She's in the top 4 or 5 now among the Democrats in terms of polling and money. So the rest of them are looking for that type of home run night. But I think the writing's on the wall. You're probably going to see Buttigieg, you're probably going to see Harris, you're probably going to see Sanders, you're probably going to see Elizabeth Warren and Biden moving forward after this next debate. There may be another 1 or 2 also-rans in the next debate, but I don't think it's going to be much more than that.
Yeah. Out of those 4, what do you think? Biden be the weakest one?
Well, Biden's polling the strongest. And the reason why Biden's polling so strong is because of the support among African Americans.
Okay.
African Americans tend to vote very pragmatically. You can make an argument against some of the choices, but I think black folks look at who is most likely to win among all of these acceptable candidates, more or less acceptable candidates. Who's the one who has the best chance to win? Because we don't have the luxury of waiting for the next election or the next time around. So black folks always tend to vote very conservatively. If you go back to 2008, when Obama first ran, he was trailing Hillary by quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And after the first debate, he didn't really gain that much ground. But when he won the Iowa caucus, black folks around the country was like, oh, this cat can really win. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it changed the way the polls read, and he started climbing up, and he as the intervening weeks occurred, he became closer and closer to Hillary in terms of popular support to the point that he surpassed her and won the nomination. And so we're looking for something like that. Biden's in the front row, but he could be caught. Mm-hmm. And I'd actually be surprised if he isn't caught. If not surpassed, someone's going to be right there neck and neck with him by the time we go into the convention and make a decision.
Okay.
But, the thing is that we get down to, say, 4 or 5, and it's, say, Biden, 2 of the ladies, and
which would be Harris and Warren.
Okay. I just don't believe this guy from Texas. I don't think he.
Oh, he's out. Beto O'Rourke.
Yeah.
He's out.
and the guy from Indiana.
Buttigieg?
Yeah.
Well, Buttigieg is going to be around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Buttigieg is creating a brand out of nothing. I mean, here's a small town, 37-year-old gay white male.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he's vaulted to the top of the Democratic primary season ticket. That's pretty impressive. So I think he's going to be sticking around, if for no other reason than people are curious about him. They like to hear what he says. He's extremely intelligent and articulate.
Yeah,
He can convey a message like none of the other candidates. And he sounds sincere. He comes across as being a very sincere man.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, he has 0 to less than 0 support among African Americans.
Yeah.
In his hometown, he has a pretty big political problem because of police brutality and his inability to affect that. So he can't even win the support of his own constituency, black constituency in particular, in South Bend. How can you expect him to go out nationwide? So that's what's hamstringing him. And frankly, it's what's going to hamstring the rest of them unless someone can electrify, because Bernie Sanders doesn't get good support from black people.
No.
Elizabeth Warren is starting to uptick a little bit with black women, but she's still not known well enough. And then you start looking at Joe Biden. Joe Biden looks like the safe, pragmatic choice among African Americans whose first objective is to beat Trump.
So I'm looking at when it gets down to, if we still got these ladies there, and just suppose one of them passed Biden.
Both could. Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris could beat Biden. There's no question about it. If Elizabeth Warren has detailed policies, and she's also fairly charismatic when she's up there speaking. She can engage the crowd and have the audience enwrapped.
Yeah.
So she has ability to catch fire with black folks. Kamala Harris, the same thing. A, she's black. B, she's very, very skilled at dissecting and debating and breaking down issues. A debate with her and Donald Trump would be one you need to pop popcorn with, because she is not one that's going to be bullied.
Right.
You start calling her name, she might hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting. She's not going to forget what's on her mind. She's not going to misspeak. She's going to be a strong, viable candidate. Her problem is she has a long track record that's kind of controversial as district attorney and state AG. So there's a lot I have heard from more than a few particular black males who say they wouldn't vote for her under any circumstances because of her past as an AG and a DA. So all of them have their warts. All of them have their millstones to carry. But all of them, at one time there were 7 Democrats who were rated higher than Trump head to head. I think that's down to 4 or 5 now, but all of them are very viable. So it's a battle of who's going to win that and come out as unscathed as you can to go up against Agent Orange.
But the thing is that when you look at the one we've been talking about, each one has got this thing, a lot of blacks talking, I don't know about Harris, So a lot of them got these things. So what do you think? And the thing is, how will we come together to vote? Because we got these, and people saying they won't vote for this person, they won't vote for that one, and we're gonna mess around.
They need to stop. You could put up a ham hock sandwich and put it on a platform next to Donald Trump, and you'd have a better candidate.
Yeah.
So whoever wins among the Democrats, that's what I'm saying, they need to come out as unscathed as possible, rather than the Democrats beating each other up and beating each other down and causing damage to the brand that eventually wins. Let's have spirited, logical, engaging debates on the issues. Let's not name, call, and make it personal. And let's let the voters choose who they feel can best carry the message for them. And they did a good job with that in the first debate. I think even Kamala Harris, who was criticized by some for the way she came at Joe Biden, was, I thought, respectful. She went in on him, but she went in on him in a way that I'm surprised he wasn't prepared to fight back on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how did he think that he was going to go through the entire debating season and not have questions about his prior track record brought up? And believe you me, I don't spend a lot of time talking about the negative side of Democratic candidates
right.
because, like I said, I want one of them to come unscathed.
Mm-hmm.
But they all have their warts, rather. And Biden has more than a couple.
Right.
He has some things that are going to be hard to defend.
Yeah.
But he can defend them.
Yeah.
He can explain them,
Yeah.
or if he doesn't have too much pride, which is what I think happened the first time,
Yeah.
when Kamala Harris got up in his behind, he should have had enough. He should have had enough integrity and enough humility to say, you know what, you're right. I took the wrong stand back in the 70s on busing.
Yeah.
I took the wrong stand on a couple other issues. I should have treated Anita Hill a little bit better,
Right.
for example.
Right.
You could use it. There's some things that he made a mistake on. He should have said, yeah, you know, it was a
Right.
different time. I had a different attitude. I've grown. I'm not that person
Right.
anymore. Rather than stand there and act like you're offended because someone brought it up.
Right.
You know, if somebody sees a man leaving a brothel, and then they confront him in church, don't get mad at the woman who confronted you in church about you being at the whole house.
Right.
Yeah.
Just don't go to him.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't get yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
again.
Or apologize.
Yeah.
I did it. I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the way all of them need to be able to. I don't want this entitled, arrogant, who do you think you are asking me? I'm the front row. The attitude that Biden's being conveyed a little bit. You better humble yourself and be ready to explain yourself because you need us, not the other way around.
Right.
And you know, and the thing is, again, you know, something happened 35 years ago.
40
Hey,
years.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we look for people to change. We look for people to.
I've changed.
Yeah, we look for people to improve. You know.
Absolutely.
You know?
Right.
And it was just amazing to me. He wouldn't. He didn't come across the next day or the next few days. He come across like, whoa, she should have done that. You know, it's like, no.
He acted offended,
Yeah.
which is what I meant by acting entitled.
Right.
Who do you think you are criticizing me?
Right.
Well, you running, right?
Yeah.
And you have a track record, right?
Yeah.
We can examine
this
that.
did happen.
Yeah.
We can examine that track record and critically appraise it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not so above us that we can't do that.
Yeah.
Because if you're telling me that you can't be critiqued, then brother, you definitely won't get my
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah.
At least in the Democratic.
Yeah. That's some of the symptoms of orange.
Yeah.
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 A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit. I
Yeah,
mean,
it
or,
is.
it's malignant with Agent Orange, but
Yeah.
all of them. Biden's not the only one. There's a couple of them. They need to humble themselves a little bit.
Yeah. So how about a man from New Jersey? You know, now he looks like all he wants to do is attack now, you know.
You talking about Cory Booker?
Yeah.
Cory Booker is probably a month from announcing that he's retreating from the race.
Yeah.
He's a non-factor.
Yeah. He's not seasoned.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think you can throw all the seasoning you want on that bland piece of meat. It's just never going to have any flavor. And I think that's his biggest problem. He has all the charisma of a racer smudge. Yeah, intelligent guy,
Yeah.
accomplished guy.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people don't know that Cory Booker was once a hell of a football player.
Oh yeah, at Stanford.
Well, yeah, he played at Stanford,
Yeah.
lettered 4 years, was a high school All-American,
Yeah.
but he comes across as a very milquetoast,
Yeah.
bland type personality who you really don't know. You don't know what's really
Don't
underneath
trust
the
him.
surface.
Yeah.
Because he sounds so earnest and he
Yeah.
sounds so Boy Scoutish. You're like, come on,
Yeah.
man, tell
He
me.
can be persuaded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said something, I don't know what it was, a month or so ago. I didn't get all of it, but he said something, man, that really turned a lot of blacks off.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it was, but it and like you said, he and now he wants to attack. You know, it's like, wait a minute, what are you gonna do? Now I seen him was it Sunday or Saturday? I believe it was Saturday night on Pete, you know, the
MSNBC.
one of those channels, and he, you know, but he just don't present, you know.
Like I said, he's got all the charisma of an eraser smudge. There's no spark behind
Right,
him.
right,
He's
right.
very bland. He's
Yeah.
very plain.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think he could take the pressure of the office of the presidency.
I think he can handle it.
yeah. I
I think he
You think?
could. Oh yeah, he's a sharp guy. He's
yeah.
a strong guy, man.
Yeah.
He just doesn't convey it, which is why you would think he couldn't handle it because
Yeah.
he doesn't show you
Right.
anything. But there's a lot of substance there.
Yeah.
Right.
He just doesn't have a way to convey it, man.
Well-
He comes across as very, very bland. You know, he had there's an article in the New York Times a month or so ago about a relationship he had with this young man when he was overseas at Oxford. He had graduated college and he's over at Oxford doing his post-grad studies. And he became friends with this Orthodox Jew. I forget the man's name. But as years went by, I mean, they were so tight that Cory Booker was invited to this all Jewish, it wasn't a fraternity, but organization to set in. And he set in and he became so beloved that he was eventually president, a black man from America, president of this all Jewish organization. He had friends in there. This particular man, I really wish I could remember his name. They, they danced together. There's a video Cory carrying him through a party, and they double dated. They were tight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my man's an avid right-wing supporter of Donald Trump now. And
He-
Cory Booker,
Okay.
and Cory Booker, of course, is a progressive. But it leads me to question, what were you thinking back in Oxford? Because he still had the same political attitude back then. He was a right winger back then.
Right.
He had these same proclivities back then. I don't know that I could be best friends and call some of my beloved brother who carried those type of political ideas
Yes,
and they carried that ideology. I couldn't be friends with somebody like that.
I couldn't. I definitely couldn't. But see, that's the thing about him, man. It's like, and he was mayor of what?
Newark.
Jersey City.
I think it was Newark.
Newark when.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Newark.
And it just somehow it just don't, like Dennis said, he just don't move the bar with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I said, I've noticed now, man, he's attacking, it's like we don't need that.
Yeah.
You know?
He's desperately trying to stay in it.
Yeah,
And I don't think it's going to work for him because he doesn't come across as someone who's credible attacking. That's not his personality anyway.
right,
If I was a politician, you expect me to attack.
right,
That's how I like to get out.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's not that way.
right.
So it sounds more desperate
Yeah.
than genuine. It sounds
But-
more
yeah.
convenient than earnest.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be in for what he's asking for. He's got to be tough-skinned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's just not that kind of guy, man.
Yeah.
He's just not that kind of guy. Good man, though.
Yeah.
Good man, very accomplished man. He's done some good things in his career as a senator and his entire political career. He's a good man. But when it comes down to it, now you're playing in the majors. And he can't hit the curve.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
can't hit the curve.
Yeah.
All that power you have and that nice glove you have won't help you stay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can't hit the curve, that'll make you shy of the fastball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now they are saying with the next thing coming up, the 30th and 31st, that Miss Harris, gonna have to be as sharp as she was the first time. So
No
what?
question.
So what do you think?
Yeah, she's going to be a strong candidate. She might go all the way up to the last decisions between
Well,
the candidates.
but they were saying that it's going to be a lot of focus on her on this debate
Yeah,
because
Oh, yeah. Well, she raised the bar.
yeah, she can take it.
Yeah, she's the one who actually threw the first punch in the Democratic debate season. Prior to that, you didn't see anyone directly addressing one of the competitors in a direct way about their policies. You know, they might have alluded to it. They might have said, I do this differently. But she specifically took a unprovoked opportunity to go at Biden. And I think it was savvy. I mean, she's looking around, she's saying, all these off-brand clowns,
Yeah.
they ain't gonna hurt me.
Yeah.
There's that cat there, I got to catch.
Right.
He's the one that's beat.
Yeah,
He's beating
yeah.
his all.
Yeah,
And I got to
yeah.
knock him down a rung or
Right,
two.
right.
And she knocked him down a rung of 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I mean, she really put a hurting on him. Had my
Right.
man running around looking for an apology and
Well,
crying in
yeah.
his teeth.
Well, she said if I get the big one, the little one's gonna fall in line.
Well, yeah, well, not fall off.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, what are you gonna stand? You'll have any
Yeah.
place to stand. So
Go right in it.
she, you know, before that debate, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a top third, there's a middle third, and there's a bottom third. And she was right there in that middle third, at the very bottom of the middle third, about to fall into the bottom third. She was just one of the people in the mix.
Yeah.
10 minutes in that debate changed everything. And now she's trending like 14, 15%, third, fourth place, depending on the poll you see, and rising.
Yeah. She got conversation.
She's
Yeah.
a sharp lady, man. And she's tough. That's what I like about her.
Right.
I anticipate her, if she wins a Democratic a nomination, is someone who can not only go toe for toe with Trump, but humiliate Trump. She can make Trump lose his cool and get anger, or want to take his ball and go home.
Right. She ain't
She's
gonna
tough
back.
like
she ain't
that.
gonna back down.
No,
No.
Elizabeth Warren is
Yeah.
Elizabeth
I
Warren
have
is
her up there with Waters.
who?
Waters, that Senator Waters.
Oh.
Yeah. The
Oh,
lady.
you talking about Waters?
She's a congressman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. But yeah, she would be a real tough candidate for Trump. Now, Elizabeth Warren would dazzle everyone with her proposals and the details and how she plans to pay for it, the specific plans. And that's what's built her brand. I mean,
Yeah.
she started in the Democratic primary
Yeah.
near the bottom, and by the time the first debate, she was near the top.
Yeah.
Just because she goes out and speaks to people,
Yeah.
including starting, like I said earlier, she's starting to generate a lot of support among black women. They
Yeah.
really like what she says, and they trust her. She's earnest and honest. I think Bernie Sanders ought to be given a Lifetime Achievement Award from all the Democratic candidates, because he moved the conversation for the Democrats from this center-right fiction,
Yeah.
you know, that Clinton
Yeah.
started with, you know, this corporate Democrat, and you know, we're not liberals, but we're not as far right as you guys.
Right, yeah.
No, that's not where your
No,
constituency
no.
Democratic voters are progressives.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's about time we had a
Yeah.
candidate that reflected
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Obama wasn't a, you know, you and I talked about that when
Yeah,
he ran. He was
yeah.
not a progressive.
No.
Well, the times have changed, and the constituency is firmly to the left.
Yeah.
And it's about time. And Bernie Sanders was a candidate who started talking about universal health care, education from K through grad
Yeah.
school. All of these initiatives that are now part and parcel of the Democratic debate, and adapted by almost all of them, with the exception of Biden, who's still playing that centrist role. They ought to thank Bernie Sanders for clearing the way. But having said that, Bernie Sanders is about done.
Yeah.
He's not gaining any traction. He's kind of falling between
Yeah.
third and fifth, depending on the poll,
Yeah.
and not moving very much. So I think he's, you know, like I said, give him a Lifetime Achievement Award and send him back to
Yeah. One of the things he
Vermont.
keeps you know, he don't want to, he keeps saying the same thing, you know, and you know, people are, you know,
Well, he says what he is.
yeah,
That's part of the appeal. He doesn't change it up and try to dazzle it new and improve. This is who I am. This is what I got. Come get some.
yeah,
Or don't.
yeah, and then we got a couple more minutes. About we'll get 3
It was
minutes.
6
6 minutes.
6 minutes.
One of the things is that he, and I hate to say it. Me and you talked about that, man. It was like a lot of his voters didn't vote for Democratic Party last time. A lot of them went and voted for Trump. A lot of them didn't vote. So that's
Well, you know that's a myth, right?
well, I'm just going by what they said.
No, they say that, but that's not
Well,
true.
okay. Well,
The numbers show that the vast majority of Sanders voters voted for Hillary Clinton. There were some who did abstain, but that's going to happen with any candidate.
Okay.
And more importantly, There's this thing out there in the zeitgeist that Sanders was bitter, took his ball and went home and didn't support Hillary. The first speech he made after he conceded was to support Hillary and tell his voters that it was vitally important that they get up and they support this woman. So, hindsight, Hillary lost. Hillary lost because of Guccifer 2.0, the Russian military, Cambridge Analytica, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all being duped by this Russian disinformation candidate campaign.
Yeah.
And she still won by 3.5 million votes. But when she lost, the sour grapes was, well, it was for the Bernie bros, and you saw this fight between traditional Democratic voters, particularly women, and the supporters of Sanders. And of course, the Sanders supporters hit back and fought back and called names too. But if you look at the numbers, and the numbers are the only thing that means anything in a vote, in an election, the vast majority of Sanders supporters voted for Hillary Clinton. And you probably had more Republicans who were Rick Perry or the other nut from Texas, Ted Cruz, or all the Jeb Bush, all these off brands they had up there. You probably had as many, if not more, Republicans say, you know what, rather than vote for Donald Trump, I'm just not going to vote. So this myth that Sanders somehow damaged Hillary Clinton is just that. It's a myth. It's not true. It's just not true.
So, are you kind of counting on them this time? If Sanders is not the, and I don't look for him to be the nominee this time, so you're looking for them to still come out and
absolutely. Sanders doesn't
support.
It's a different scenario. Last time was a binary choice. You had Sanders, you had Clinton.
Okay.
You had someone who was uber progressive, new and exciting, because what he was talking about hadn't been talked about by Democrats since the 60s, maybe the 70s, if I think about it. But you hadn't had anyone who was unabashedly to the left. They said, I'm a progressive. I am a democratic socialist, which a lot of the numbskulls out there don't know what that means because of Fox News. But he was not ashamed about it. He said, this is what a democratic socialist does. This is why Denmark and Sweden and Switzerland, all these countries up there have some of the happiest people on earth, because they don't worry about medical bills. They don't worry about tuition. They don't worry about paying back student loans. They go to school, get their education, they go to work, and they have babies. Life's pretty good. We can't have that here for reasons that have to do with the oligarchs taking all the money. But if you get Democrats confused about, how are we going to pay for that? How are we going to pay for that? Ask Elizabeth Warren. Ask Bernie Sanders. They have specific plans about how to play. Kamala Harris just levied a proposal to donate $60 billion to HBCUs to make sure that they're properly carried forward into the future. So you have specific plans. The idea that these people are going to come out there and just wing it is one that Fox News may say, but that's not true.
Yeah, because Sanders made a comment about that insulin deal in Canada. About putting them in jail for press gouging.
They ought to be. I mean, you and I were talking about it before the show, but this all emanates from George Bush when he ripped up and changed the Medicaid Medicare program. He, with the Medicaid Part B, what do you need a Part B for? Just straight. But anyway, what he did was he signed an agreement that said that the pharmaceutical companies could sell to the government their drugs for whatever price they want to charge, and the United States government would negotiate. They would not use their bulk buying power to negotiate a lower price. So they pay higher prices than some of these smaller insurance companies, all because the pharmaceutical company is purchased and owns enough Republican politicians that they can take insulin, which it's been a commodity since the 40s. A commodity that used to sell for $5, $6, $7 a vial. Now it's up over $1,000. You have people who are dying because they can't afford their insulin, so they're either skipping doses or cutting doses in half, trying to make it last, or just saying, you know what, I just can't afford it anymore, and people are dying young. The same thing with the opioid addiction. It's all Republican policy.
We still didn't talk about the clown from Kentucky. And because he's holding up everything.
Moscow Mitch?
Yeah.
He's a traitor.
Yeah.
He's a traitor.
Everything they try to do, he's against it. But we'll have something to say about him next time. My name is Ahmad Shakaraki, and we'll catch you on the next block.
Peace.
Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.